Hello, glider pilots, and welcome back to another uh, SSB ground school. We have a special instructor for this session. That's Ilana Steele. Ilana is a youth member of the Soaring Society of Boulder. She got her private pilot pilot with glider rating last summer, and has since added a single engine land rating to her license. She is pretty excited about soaring and about aviation in general. She's working on, she's a high school student, but heading to college for a degree in aeronautical engineering. She's a wonderful pilot. I've flown with her and really enjoys what she's doing, and is really excited about soaring, and now excited about teaching soaring, which is, of course, something I'm excited about too. So this will be a short ground school, but Ilana will be teaching it. She's prepared a presentation to help with something that we all need to know, but it kind of gets glanced over, and that is what one needs in the aircraft in order to legally fly it. So with that, Ilana, please take over and give the ground school.
Hey, thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen. All right, so the acronym that we use is AROW, and so yeah, let's get started. So what is AROW? So this is an acronym that we use to remember what documents we need to have in the plane before we're ready to fly. So it used to be ARROW for airworthiness, registration, and then radio operator's license. This was removed from AROW just because it's not required anymore, but because you don't need your radio operating license, but it's still required to fly internationally. So keep that in mind. But you're also the operating handbook and weight and balance. So we're going to get into all of these. All right, so the first piece, airworthiness certificate. So this is 91.203 in your FAR aim. And then so the certificate needs to be visible in the aircraft upon entering in gliders. That'll yeah, that it can change places, but it'll be somewhere on the wall of the fuselage. And then that also, like, for your airworthiness certificate to be valid, it has to have all of its inspections complete. That includes like the annual/condition inspections. That annuals are for certified and condition inspections are for experimental. These are covered by the airworthiness certificate. So not it's the annual and condition, but also 100-hour if it's for commercial operations. Transponder, if equipped, that's every 24 months. The ELT, if equipped, every 24 months. And then some manufacturers require 3,000-hour or 6,000-hour inspections. Just like manufacturer required inspections. So keep an eye on those as well. The airworthiness certificate never expires, but unless serious repairs have been made, like if you're in like a really big crash, that's also a 232 form. So another thing to keep in mind. Another big part of this is in-op equipment. So if you have a part of the plane that's inoperative, there's a couple steps you need to take before it's airworthy again. Even if it's something really small, like a spoiler indicator or something. Like if it's in the plane, it's supposed to work, then you need to go through like the steps to make sure that it's airworthy. So we have this flow chart, which is like built for powered aircraft, but it works for gliders as well. So something's broken. Does the plane have an MEL? That's a list that most powered planes have, but gliders generally don't have that, so we can move on. Is it required for day VFR use? In general, like unless it's like an altimeter or something, it's probably like if it's an altimeter, then you can't fly without it. So let's say it's not, then is it kind of operation list? Gliders don't have that. Is it required per? We don't really have this either. So that's like HMATA flames and flaps. We don't really have that. Airworthiness directive. So we'll get into that in a minute. If it's like a required piece of equipment from an airworthiness directive, you can't fly. And then this is the big part. It needs to be removed, deactivated, or placarded. So if let's say your transponder broke, but you don't need it in the area that you're flying, and you decided you don't want to fly with it, then you need to either remove it, deactivate it, or placard it as an op. and then determine safe. Like if you, the pilot, says it's safe, then you can fly. And then last piece is ADs. So, airworthiness directives are just given by the FAA on like things that they recommend. Well, no, they require, and so you can search up which ADs for your aircraft on drs.faa.gov, and you just put in the type of aircraft, and it'll show you all the AD. So you want to be AD compliant before you start flying. And then your airworthiness certification is valid. All right. Next, registration. This one's pretty simple. Make sure your airplane is registered. It lasts for 7 years. That's about it there. Pilot's operating handbook and placards. So the POH in the plane must be the one that's assigned to that tail number. It has to say like the tail number on it and the serial number. Otherwise, you're not fulfilling the POH part of it. You also need the placard. So this is literally screenshots from the ASK a manual. So these are the placards that come with the plane. They need to be displayed. Again, otherwise you're not fulfilling the POH plus placards part of it. Weight and balance. So every plane has a different weight and balance information. Different equipments, models, all that kind of thing can affect gross weight and CG location. So it's important that you have the current weight and balance on board and that you're using that in your CG calculations. So, and then the correct frequency of weight and balance can be found in the aircraft manual. So some planes will have it like every 5 years or every number of, well, it doesn't even matter, but you need to make sure that you're complying with that and that you have the correct weight and balance on board. And then that's AROW. We got to W, but another important part of it is like maintenance performed by the private pilot. So according to 14 CFR Part 43.3, the holder of the pilot certificate issued under Part 61 may perform preventative maintenance on any aircraft owned or operated by that pilot. So that means that you can fix small stuff, but it has to be like preventative maintenance specifically. So examples include removal, installation, or repair of landing gear tires, replacing hydraulic fluid, oil changes, if you have a motor glider or something, replacing or servicing batteries, or replacing seatbelts. Those are all things that you can do as a private pilot. But after you do them, you need to make sure that you fulfill logbook requirements. That means description of the work performed, the date, and the name of the pilot. So the name of the pilot, certificate number, and type of certificate. So you're making sure that you track all the maintenance that you do. And that's my last slide.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit, if we could, about, if it's a certificated aircraft or if it's experimental. So if it's certificated, you really have to have a mechanic, A&P mechanic, do most of the work. But if it's experimental, then there's something more. There's more that the pilot can do, and that's probably beyond the scope of this ground school, and it's beyond the scope of what one needs to know to get their pilot's license. The other thing that I saw that you had in there is the 100-hour inspection, and that's for commercial operations. So if does our club, the Soaring Society of Boulder, or other clubs have to do the 100-hour inspection?
We don't at Boulder. I don't know about other clubs, but when you join Boulder, you get a share of the glider. So you're considered a part owner. And since you're a part owner, you're supplying. So let's say you're getting instruction, you're supplying the aircraft. And so it's not for commercial use, even if you're paying a flight instructor. So it doesn't fall under that commercial category.
Right. So a club is not considered a commercial operation. And a club has to do certain things. This gets into, how you set up your club and structure and document your club. But we're very careful. There are regulations that the FAA has of what is a club and what qualifies as a club. So you need to do that and make sure you don't creep into becoming a commercial operation. That's come up from time to time with the officers of the club, that we want to make sure we're always we're always considered a club under the FAA regulation, under the FAA definition of what is a club. Good. Well, Alana, thanks so much for this rundown. I'm sure that folks will know when they go to take their oral exam, they know what, when it gets at, when the examiner is going to ask you what is required to be in the aircraft. And now you'll be able to just say AROW and airworthiness. Go ahead.
Registration, operator's manual, and weight and balance.
Very good. Operating manual or operating placards.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Alana, thanks so much. And you are the star of this ground school, and I think you maybe have helped people around the world learn a little bit more about what they need to do to get their glider rating. And so, thanks so much. And everybody out there, keep flying. Bye, Alana.
Bye.